I'm not naming any names, but it'd be a lot of people. A lot of people getting pushed if I was in red light, green light with them. It'd be
So I was watching my local 7-Eleven burn down today when I saw a shirt or something in the bushes. And when I walked over, I saw it was a Walmart employee uniform that someone just left there. So I decided to try it on, even though it had a stain on it that looked like, milk. But that's when I got the idea to go to Walmart and see how long it would take them to notice that I don't work there. And I was just walking around in Walmart as a fellow employee. So the first thing I did was give myself a good employee discount on a few things I found. And then I was looking for something to do when I saw the phone for announcements just sitting there. And I was super nervous, but I picked it up and said, "Attention shoppers, everything is free for the next hour." And then I hung up and panicked and tried to find a getaway. And I saw the employees only area. So I went inside and it led me to an elevator, which eventually led me out the main entrance. And when I finally made it out of there, the security was outside with its flashing lights. So I quickly took off my uniform, threw it in the bushes, and ran. So I have a chunk of dry ice from buying human organs off the black market, but I was thinking, how do you even get rid of dry ice? Like, it doesn't melt because it's literally frozen air and it repels water, which means it's homophobic. Oh wait, I mean hydrophobic. Anyways, I'm clinically stupid, so I broke a piece in half and plopped it in my toilet to see what would happen. And it was making these fun little bubbles, so I filled the bathtub and grabbed the rest of it and threw it in some water to see what would happen. And anyways, that was a mistake because I filled the whole shower up with gases, and I remembered it's not frozen air, it's frozen CO2, and I was getting lightheaded and I wasn't trying to die. So I took the piece out and I brought it to the sink and I jammed it down the drain as best as I could so it would go away. And then I took a deep breath of relief until I looked down to see I was standing in a puddle of water and boom! My pipes exploded! There was water spraying me everywhere in the face and got everywhere. Anyways, I may have caused a catastrophic water main failure in my whole neighborhood and flooded 102 buildings. So, I don't think the vegan chicken nuggets were worth it. I was microwaving hot chip ravioli and sitting by a fire that I started in my living room when I started longing for someone to share the meal with. But then my eyes caught the word Tinder. I dropped my ravioli and grabbed my phone to download Tinder. And I made a profile to show off my personality and my love for food. After I added some pictures and finished my profile, I was gonna run some ranch dressing through my coffee maker to see what would happen. When all of a sudden my phone went off, and when I grabbed it, it notified me that I had a match. Ever since then, we've been talking non-stop, and we're gonna go on a picnic tonight and see who can dislocate their jaw the furthest and fit the most apples in their mouth. Anyways, wish me luck on my date. I dropped my phone almost as much as I was dropped as a baby. Like, I think it's actually made of butter. I basically have a butter phone with a butter. Anyways, I really needed a case for it, but I wanted something special, so I used this app called Caseify to make a custom case with every picture of frogs that I have in my whole camera roll. And it was really easy. I just took a little frog with a little leaf, beep, bop, boop, bang, he's on the case. I took a picture of a frog with a little watering can, and beep, bop, boom, he's on the case, baby. Then every other frog, ding dong, the package was at my door. And I was so excited because getting packages is like my #1 source of serotonin at this point. And when I opened it, the packaging was like a little present from me to me because I have no one special to me to give me presents with. Anyways, I love my little frog case, and you can make your own and get 20% off with the code 20HighBen. Thank you, Caseify. So I bought this doggy camera to spy on my little worm creature, and when I was checking the cameras today, I saw that when she comes through her doggy door, a literal rat has been following her in. And not only that, I caught them canoodling, and I had to shoot a tree to her to break them up so I could go rescue her from Remy the rat in my house not paying rent. Anyways, I was horrified, and ever since, she's been giving me, rabies vibes, the way she's been kind of foaming at the mouth and trying to bite me. So I took her to a discount vet clinic at the back of a dollar store, and they weighed her little fat butt and then put her on the table. And I told them I think she has rabies, and that's when they pulled out 3 humongous needles. And then they took her into the back rooms, and I'm not an anti-vax or anything, but she was screaming so much I was like, bring my girl back. And I grabbed her and brought her home, and now she just has a little bit of rabies, but it's fine because she just likes to give me love bites. So I was completely legally watching a movie today when I won an iPhone 13. And all I had to do was enter my social security number, so I typed it in. And then a week later, while I was blending my candles together to make a mega candle, I got a notification that a package was delivered. So I ran downstairs to grab it, and the packaging was a little strange, but I cracked open the box, which apparently was for the iPhone 14. And then when I opened up that box, they had sent me a toy car. And I was like, I know I didn't just give away my identity for a Hot Wheel. Then I realized it's actually a phone. So I decided to hang up on the 911 operator that I had panic called, and I checked out my new phone, and it was pretty cool until I realized it was a used phone. And I think the previous owner was someone's grandma, because I saw in her text she wasn't just having booty calls, but a whole booty conference. Now, I didn't want this phone anymore after going into the images and seeing Granny's Milkies, so I picked it up one last time and checked her contact section and noticed she had her address on there. So I grabbed the phone and biked over to her house, which happened to be only an hour away. And when I got there, Granny is on her Jeff Bezos type beat. So I decided to put my name in her contacts, and then I threw the phone over the fence, and I'll let you know if I slide. My favorite thing to do right now is guess people's passwords of their social media accounts, because I've actually managed to successfully hack a few accounts. And I also enjoy changing some captions around without people noticing and tagging myself so people think me and Zendaya are besties. So today I managed to log into Shawn Mendes's account, and then I decided to DM some people some pickup lines like Olivia Rodrigo, which might have made me responsible for him and Camila Kabubu breaking up, but anyways, today I wanted to get into Instagram's Instagram account to, I don't know, post a picture of myself or something. And then I remember the guy who owns Instagram is Mark Zuckerberg. So when I tried logging in with a bunch of different passwords and none were working, I realized it kept asking me if I'm not a robot. And since old Marky Poo is a robot, I left it blank and I was making sushi with raw chicken instead of raw fish, but I accidentally dropped it on the floor, and when I bent over to pick it up, I saw my legs and wondered if I could wax them so they would feel like 2 slippery hot dogs. So I canceled my chicken sushi, and once I was done cleaning it all up, I went to my garage to find a bottle of Gorilla Glue to wax my legs. But here's the big old catch. I can't make a single noise waxing my legs, because if I wake up my dog, she will literally pee herself in the beanbag chair. So with that in mind, I grabbed some plastic wrap and put the glue on it and made a little waxing strip. Then I knelt down and put the strip on slowly, and at first I was like, this isn't too bad. It just kind of feels kind of numb, and then it started burning, and I realized I had to do it now, so I ripped it off, and it didn't get the wax off! I panicked and I tried to wipe it off, but it just shredded the paper towel, got even stickier. And also my dog woke up and peed herself. But at least the sushi was kind of fire. So today was April Fool's, and I got a doorbell notification, which I thought was strange because I'm not expecting any packages. And when I checked it, I saw a box sitting outside my house. I was like, what the heck is a baguette? That sounds like the opposite of a... You know what I'm talking about. Anyways, I picked it up and brought it inside and realized it makes vegetable pasta. And I was so excited, so I opened it up, but... there was no spaghetti. There was just my hair. And I started panicking because I was like, how did they get my human hair? And that's when I realized that a month ago, I cut my own hair and put it online as a real Michael Jackson wig and sold it to someone for $5,000. But they probably got my address from the return address on the package. Anyways, I looked in the hair and found a note saying I need to lock my door because... Today, I went on a romantic date in France. Just kidding. I ate a plain bagel with mold, but I am tired of being single. So I grabbed my phone and downloaded Tinder, so I could use the passport feature to meet people from across the world for free. All of a sudden, my phone dinged, and when I checked it, I had a match with Remy. We started chatting about our love for cheese, and I don't even need to go to Paris now, because I have a video date with Remy, thanks to Tinder Passport. Wish me luck. I woke up at 4 a.m. to borrow some of my roommate's peanut butter today, but when I opened it up, I saw he's been scooping it out the jar in a really strange way, which is really inefficient because there's just more surface area for it to dry out. But anyways, I wanted to make a peanut butter and spray cheese sandwich, but I felt like it needed some raspberries, so as I was taking the bread out of the fridge, I knocked out the raspberries. But I believe in the 5-minute rule instead of the 5-second rule, so I scooped them up and assembled my delicious sandwich, and I added the raspberries and a nice little squirt of easy cheese, and then I took a big old bite, but I started feeling really funny, and I thought I was having an allergic reaction to the peanut butter. But then I remembered the raspberries were not exactly the freshest, and I just ate an ounce of both. So I grabbed my computer and tried to call poison control, but they were closed because of Thanksgiving, and I was like, damn, I'm really gonna puke my guts out because some white dudes wanted to have a feast after a mass genocide in 1621. So anyways, I decided I should probably write my will, and I opened up my notes app and said all my money and my plant collection and my life-size Zendaya cardboard cutout will go to my dog. Thank you and goodbye forever, I guess. My dearest Mima once told me, the circle of life is everywhere. That's why today I'm using her ashes to season my baked salmon for supper. I get all my seafood fresh from the sewer drain behind my local prison, cause my uncle taught me when I was a young boy that if you take headphones with a phone attached playing Ed Sheeran and leave them by a sewer drain overnight, the fish in the sewers will sewer-side. And when you check back the next day, you'll have plenty of fish ready for the lunch. Now, I'm not using any seasoning other than Mima herself, because I'm half white and my Mima told me that seasoning is the devil. Plus, the fish is already marinated in toxic chemicals to give it a little bit of a kick from the sewer runoff. I throw it in the oven at 400 degrees, and once it's done and I take it out, I finish it with a few more ashes. And then I finally take my first bite. So it looks like I have Mima stuck in my throat from the dryness, so instead of her ashes getting spread at Disneyland, they're getting spread in this toilet. Bye, Mima! Today, I hiked up to the Hollywood sign, but there was a fence blocking access to it, so I committed a little bit of a crime. And I managed to get through, and I changed the sign to Holly Boob by covering the W with a B for boob. Anyways, I was walking down, and I saw helicopters flying overhead, and I was getting kind of nervous. So I ran into the bushes, and I hid from them, because apparently I was on government property, or whatever that means. Anyways, I got an emergency alert on my phone, and when I checked, it said that there was a $2 million bounty for a 6-foot man in green. So I realized I'll have to live off the grid forever in these bushes, with my only food being Lady Gaga Oreos that I brought as a snack. Anyways, I managed to sneak away to a swamp, but I heard the choppers getting closer. But that's when I looked in the distance and saw none other than a 6-foot man in green in the swamp. I had to act fast, so I grabbed my phone and I dialed 911 and I ratted on Shrek. Anyways, Shrek was arrested and charged with 8 felonies and I got a $2 million reward. So now I'm rich and I bought a mansion. Thanks, Shrek. So I've always wondered what would happen if you put a Tide Pod in your dishwasher instead of like the dish soap pod thing. Like, would it explode or like what would happen? So today I decided to sacrifice my Android phone to record it. And I turned the flash on and put it in my dishwasher. And then once it was recording inside there, I closed it up and started the dishwasher on the low cycle. But after a few minutes, it started shaking a lot. And I noticed that there was water leaking and dripping out the bottom. So I panicked and I canceled it and I opened it up. And I took the phone out and somehow it survived and was still working. So I played the video to see what happened and... Every time you're not running, Ed Sheeran gets closer. I was enjoying some olives and yogurt when a piece of paper slipped through my mail slot. And when I went to go check it, a huge box flew through the slot and hit me in the head. That's when I remembered I ordered this game called Incoherent from Amazon at like 2 a.m. But nevertheless, I was so excited to play it. But I realized I don't have any friends around me to play with. So I decided to call some of my besties instead. I dialed the number and I was like, hey bestie, and they said, this is
Taco Bell?
So I was like, okay, first round, neck key Minaj.
Please don't call this number again.
And I said, no silly, it's Nicki Minaj. What about pressed feet 10?
Yeah, we're taking your phone number to the police.
And I was like, no, it's breastfeeding, duh. Oh, the police are really coming home. Today I accidentally burned out my house because I was boiling Listerine and Red Bull to make delicious tea when I saw a wasp had waltzed into my house. And I'm extremely allergic, so I grabbed a container to try and capture him so I could send him back to hell. And I got him, but then I realized if I try and get the lid on, he's gonna fly out and sting me, and then I will end up in hell and he will haunt me forever. So I dropped it and I ran and grabbed a piece of paper and then I put it back on and slid it under. And I actually managed to pull out the paper and I had successfully abducted him. So I put him on a plate and microwaved him until he lit on. Just kidding. I realized I'll definitely go to hell if I do that, so I let him outside and carefully put him down and released the hatches and he kicked it away. But then he got up and chased me inside and I closed the door and I thought I was safe. And oh, I forgot to turn the stove burner off and... I was watching my comfort movie Pitch Perfect on HBO Max for the 7th time today because it's the only thing that makes me feel alive. But then as I was watching it, I got the idea that since I'm a talentless blob of bones and skin, I should learn how to play the cups. So I grabbed a bunch of wine glasses to spice it up and I invented the glass song, and I spent days studying Pitch Perfect on HBO Max perfecting my talents so that I could get so good so I could perform for the world to see. So I started to print out flyers and then I went to the first stop of my glass song world tour in Paris. And when I got there, I stuck flyers everywhere to really get the word out about my show. But then as I was doing my sound checks on the day of my performance, I got a little too carried away and... So anyways, I'm just gonna stick to watching Pitch Perfect on HBO Max, and you should too. Today I pretended to be in the hospital to get my celebrity crush to notice me. And here's how I did it. First I was editing my name onto a hospital band and one of the rows said sex. So I said yes, winky face. And then I walked over to my printer that I haven't used in years and I thought it was gonna light on fire, and somehow that old mama worked and it printed out my band. So I cut it out and put it on my wrist.
Drip, my drip, yeah.
And then I tore my bed apart and I ripped the bed sheet off my bed to wear as a little hospital robe. Then once I had that, I pulled my bed off and dragged it over to a blank wall. Anyways, then I made my room look like a hospital by taping hospital signage. And then I laid down in my hospital bed and I made the finishing touches with a phone charger, and then I put some headphones in my nose to really pull it all together. Then I finally took my Snapchat and I added a black and white filter to be all dramatic. And I made the caption, "Down bad, wish I had a big booty bee to give me CPR." And I sent it to her. Then I ripped all the cords out and the bracelet too, and I put my shirt back on. And I was waiting around when she finally replied. And when I opened it, she said, "Today I went to go get the Moderna vaccine, and it hurt a little bit when they gave it to me, but afterwards I went home and I took the band-aid off. But as I was peeling it off, I noticed something hard was underneath. And when I pulled it out and looked at it, I saw a microchip. I'd been microchipped. I thought that was fake. But I had to get to the bottom of this. So I grabbed a microchip adapter and put it in my phone, and a folder came up saying, 'We see you.' and in it was a picture that said meet Candace at 42 Wallaby Way at 2 p.m. And I was really scared, but the next day I went to the address on my bike, and it ended up taking me to this huge building, and I found my way in. But as I was looking around, there was no one there, so I shouted,
Candace, who's Candace?
but all of a sudden the lights went out and I felt something grab me. Next thing I knew, I woke up in a chair tied up. I was so confused and I shouted,
Who is Candace? What is Candace?
then out of the darkness, he appeared and he said,
Candace
I opened my window for the first time in weeks today to collect a bunch of my fly friends. But they were being very lazy, so I decided to harvest. Random Zoom calls today so I could make some friends. But after accidentally joining an Amish colony Zoom, I accidentally joined this Zoom call with this guy in it. And I was like, who's that? Until I realized I had joined a call with Dr. Fauci, the chief medical advisor to the president. And then I looked in the mirror to make sure I didn't look like a cockroach. And then as soon as I looked presentable, I grabbed my laptop and brought it out to the living room. And then I joined the call and I was like, how are you, Dr. Fauci? And he said,
I'm good, Ben. Nice to be with you. How you doing?
and then I froze and tried to think of like a question about COVID or something. And that's when I remembered my uncle texting me out of the blue saying that there's pee in the vaccine. So I was like, let me set the record straight. So I asked him,
The vaccine looks like it's just a few drops of water, and I feel like a lot of people don't really know what's actually going on in there.
What vaccine did you get, Ben?
I'm Moderna.
I got Moderna too. So
Okay.
So when you and I got injected, what happened? It went into the muscle. The body recognizes the protein of that virus and neutralizes it.
I feel like that was like a crash course and a PhD in biology, but it all made sense. I figured it out.
well, you heard it from the White House and Ben of the Week. The vaccines are safe. Go get it, please. I don't know if you remember, but 5 years ago today, Harambe the gorilla was D-worded. So I decided to take a quick trip to infiltrate the Cincinnati Zoo, because I think he might still be alive and the whole thing was a publicity stunt. Anyways, when I got there, I did a bird call to attract some birds to land on me as a disguise, and it worked. A bunch of gay chickens landed on me and I had the perfect disguise. I was walking around looking like a zoo employee, which let me sneak into the employees only area with no suspicion. I was walking around in the back rooms when I tried saying hi to the employees, but they were busy cleaning fish dookie, so I stopped to pet some stingrays because I couldn't find Harambe's enclosure, and then I pet some sharks and they were so cool, just like a little bit slimy. And then I saw some jellyfish and they're so pretty, so I reached in to pet. Where am I?
The place you go when you pet a jellyfish, stupid.
Oh, well, that makes sense. I like to collect mold off of my old moldy bread and put it in a baggie that I keep in my pocket, so whenever I'm out and about at an overpriced restaurant getting an overpriced $15 acai bowl, I can order one and then eat the whole thing, and then once I'm done, I take out my mold babies and pop one in so I can take it to the register and go full Karen mode and show them the mold, and then boom, baby! Refund. I've done this in the past with dead flies at Olive Garden, but I like having bread in my pocket instead of dead decaying flies. Anyways, I wanted to get my mom some makeup, so I tried it at Sephora by putting some mold in the makeup, and then I brought the sample to the manager, and I got a free one. And then I sanitized my hands to get the mold off, of course. Anyways, after Sephora, I really wanted some tortilla chips, so I grabbed a bag, opened it up, popped some mold in, and then boom! I took it to the cashier, and I got a refund, baby. And then when I got home, I took a bite and forgot to take the mold out! Boom, baby, mold poisoning. Do you ever scroll through Instagram all day like a Cocomelon iPad baby until you see that you're somehow on Christian Mingle and you've matched with the mom from Wizards of Waverly Place? But then when you switch back to Instagram, it's down and you're like, what am I gonna do now? Well, that happened to me, so I thought, well, may as well join the Amish. So I went to their website, which I was surprised they even had in the first place, and I signed myself up and gave them my address and my social security number, which I didn't really know why they needed that, but anyways, later that day, someone rang my doorbell and slipped a business card under the door, and when I picked it up, it had a number on it, so I texted the number, and I I decided to ask them, so what's it like being in the Amish? And they replied, we are in Spain. And I was like, oh my god, I didn't know they had the Amish in Spain. So you know what I did? I booked the next flight to Barcelona to try and join them. But when I finally got there, I turned my phone off airplane mode and the text came in. And it turns out he actually said they are in pain, not Spain, because they have no electricity. And, well, sucks to be y'all. I'm in Spain. Ole, ole, ole. Ole, ole, ole. Today I made a fake plane ticket with my DIY skills so I could go to the Tokyo Olympics, because I think I'm really good at gymnastics. But the problem is Japan is only letting actual Olympic athletes go there because of COVID. So I finessed the system by buying a random plane ticket to Alabama so I could get into the airport. So once I got to the airport, I found the flight that was headed to Tokyo. And then I walked over to the gate to sit down and I crossed off Alabama on my ticket. And then I used it while they were boarding and I managed to board the flight to Tokyo. And after I took my seat, I was just sitting there realizing I'm really going to Japan, huh? And then we took off and I was enjoying the flight until I looked at the safety manual and saw that I was on one of those malfunctioning Boeing 737 MAX planes. You know, the ones that decide they want to be a car while in midair. And that's when I started feeling really bad turbulence. And then I remembered my phone wasn't on airplane mode. And then that's when it got really bad because the plane started falling apart. And all of a sudden the oxygen mask came down and I just accepted that the last song I'll have ever listened to in my life was Ed Sheeran. Anyways, the crowd was getting closer and closer and oh, I actually just fell asleep. Anyways, now I'm in Tokyo. I was enjoying some banana on the cob and scrolling through TikTok when I saw someone playing this Mario Kart in real life game. So I took my friend's credit card and ordered it. But when it came in the mail and I actually got to open it up and play it, the game was about as fun as listening to Ed Sheeran out of your own free will. So not fun at all. But you know what? It was okay because I bought it for the only purpose of seeing if I could take it through a drive-thru and ordering something. So I strapped my credit card to it and a walkie-talkie so that I can order through the microphone. And I taped it to Luigi really good and then drove all the way over to Popeyes. And it was time to release Luigi and see if I could successfully order a fry. I set everything up and then just like that, the little Italian was off. But as he drove up to the microphone, I didn't think they could see him. So at first I did some donuts to get their attention. And then as I was spinning him around, they were like... And I was about to tell them my order when I saw there was a car coming into the drive-thru. I panicked and grabbed my Switch to try and drive away. But